Nigeria is a forced union of so many nations in one. Even if no other person agrees to that, ask any Igbo person, ask any Biafran. 99.9% of Igbos today want their own Biafra. Benjamin Netanyahu many years ago was talking about the thing that happened in Biafra, and he mentioned it in his own state address. Biafrans went to war for 3 years with Nigeria because they wanted freedom. And you are here talking about the two-state solution when you have not settled the issue of Biafra.
The commenter know that big data he said no watch this video from one line JC okechukwu. Now this particular video oji no why we for Nigerian government ticket na kibazwa. Ekwekwana ka mmadụ kọrọ give me na video. A whole lot was exposed in this video. Chota data ki watch ya video achọ nkoko. He watch isi ya kabaru metroma kana share button can does always right with you. Enjoy the rest of the videos. I will be right back.
Let me tell you where this started from. This outcry is as a result of the very undiplomatic behavior of Nigeria's vice president. And it happened when? This happened in September of this year. And this was September 24, 2025. And what was the occasion? It was a statement when the Vice President of Nigeria, I'll give you the caption of his statement. It says, statement delivered by His Excellency Kashim Shettima, GCOM Vice President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, during the general debate of the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Remember that video of your vice president where he was campaigning or canvassing for the freedom of Palestine? Let's not talk too much. I want you to watch the video of your vice president at the United Nations.
We are despised by terrorists because we choose tolerance over tyranny. Their ambition is to divide us and to poison our humanity with a toxic rhetoric of hate. Our difference is the distance between shadow and light, between despair and hope, between the ruin of anarchy and the promise of order. We do not only fight wars, we pit and shelter the innocent victims of war. This is why we are not indifferent to the devastations of our neighbors near and distant. This is why we speak of the violence and aggression visited upon innocent civilians in Gaza, the illegal attack on Qatar, and the tensions that scar the wider region. It is not only because of the culture of impunity that makes such acts intolerable, but because our own bitter experience has taught us that such violence never ends where it begins. We do not believe that the sanctity of human life should be trapped in the corridors of endless debate. That is why we say, without stuttering and without doubt, that a two-state solution remains the most dignified path to lasting peace for the people of Palestine.
This is the Vice President of Nigeria, not Palestine. The journey from Palestine, from Nigeria to Palestine by air is 3,700 kilometers. But the Vice President of Nigeria was at the United Nations. And what formed the basis, the core of his speech was Palestine. Just stay calm and come with me. Let me walk you through the process of why we got to where we are. The section where he started talking about Palestine, it starts with number 9 of his points. Be patient with me. I'm going to read you something and explain to you what I'm reading, so you understand why Israel sees this as a matter of life and death. They must be involved. So the number 9 point he was making here in his speech, okay, you didn't hear that one. He says, Nigeria's soldiers and civilians carry a proud legacy. They have participated in 51 out of 60 United Nations peacekeeping operations since our independence in 1960. We have stood with our partners in Africa to resolve conflicts, and we continue that commitment today through the multinational joint task force. At home, we confront the scourge of insurgency with resolve. From this long and difficult struggle with violent extremism, one truth stands clear. Military tactics may win battles measured in months and years, but in wars that span generations, it is values and ideas that deliver the ultimate victory. Can you imagine the vice president of Nigeria is about to talk about Palestine, and he started first of all by talking about the military might of Nigeria. Keep your mind on what I just said. You are about to speak on Palestine and Israel, and you started by talking about how powerful Nigerian military is and how many peacekeeping operations we have had to get involved in since our independence. So let's go to item number 10. So number 10, he says, we are despised by terrorists because we choose tolerance over tyranny. Their ambitions is to divide us and to poison our humanity with a toxic rhetoric of hate. Our difference is the distance between shadow and light, between despair and hope, between the ruin of anarchy and the promise of order. We do not only fight wars, we feed and shelter the innocent victims of wars. Are you hearing? The vice president of Nigeria, he's about to talk about Palestine. And look at all the things he's saying. He now says, this is why we are not indifferent to the devastations of our neighbors near and distant. This is why we speak of the violence and aggression visited upon innocent civilians in Gaza, in Palestine, the illegal attack on Qatar, and the tensions that scar the wider region. It is not only because of the culture of impunity that makes such acts intolerable, but because our own bitter experience has taught us that such violence never ends where it begins. My beloved ones, I don't know any nation that will hear stuff like this and not see that this is a threat of military action against Israel. The war that is visited, the violence, that aggression visited upon innocent civilians in Gaza, and then the illegal attack on Qatar. The vice president of Nigeria basically speaking against Israel's actions in Gaza and Israel's attack on Qatar, and then mentioning war and military might in the same sentences where he's talking about what Israel is doing in Gaza. And I ask, where did the boldness come from? I will explain it when I finish reading to you the next line, the next item, which is number 11. Number 11 says, we do not believe that the sanctity of human life should be trapped in the corridors of endless debate. That is why we say, without stuttering and without doubt, that a two-state solution remains the most dignified path to lasting peace for the people of Palestine. A two-state solution. For too long, this community has borne the weight of moral conflict. For too long, we have been caught in the crossfire of violence that offends the conscience of humanity. We come not as partisans, but as peacemakers. We come as brothers and sisters of a shared world, a world that must never reduce the right to live into the currency of devious politics. The people of Palestine are not collateral damage in a civilization searching for order. They are human beings, equal in worth, entitled to the same freedoms and dignities that the rest of us take for granted. A two-state solution in Palestine. So the vice president of Nigeria, I keep mentioning that Nigeria, jets out of Nigeria, goes to the United Nations with all these powerful, subtle threats to Israel. You are talking about Israel's actions in Gaza and the bombing in Qatar, and you are saying it along with how mighty our military is, how powerful, how much wars we have fought, and the rest of them. And on top of that, you now say two-state solution. Knowing how sensitive these topics are, you're talking about two-state solution when you have people in your own country where you come from who are not even united. Nigeria is a forced union of so many nations in one. Even if no other person agrees to that, ask any Igbo person, ask any Biafran. 99.9% of Igbos today want their own Biafra. Benjamin Netanyahu many years ago was talking about the thing that happened in Biafra, and he mentioned it in his own state address. Biafrans went to war for 3 years with Nigeria because they wanted freedom. And you are here talking about the two-state solution when you have not settled the issue of Biafra. in your own country where you came from. What gave you the audacity and the boldness to do that? It is because you believed that the conquest by Islam of Nigeria had now been completed, which is why you guys had Muslim ticket. If it wasn't that there was Muslim ticket and that psychologically you believed in your mind that you guys have already conquered Nigeria, that any other thing anyone was talking about was nonsense, was balderdash, you would never have the audacity to go to United Nations rather than talking about what the terrorists are doing in Nigeria, how the terrorists are raping and killing people and dispossessing them of their homelands and farmlands, how that they have become so horrible. The impunity and the silence from the authorities and the lack of action from the Nigerian government has been so much that should have been your own speech at the United Nations. You should have been there asking for help. Instead, it was Palestine because you felt like, well, we have gotten this nation now. We are now the giant, the Muslim giant of Africa. And so with all the might we have, resources, economic power, military, we can actually now help other Muslim brothers that are suffering. So you were basically putting yourself up as the big helper, the big savior for Palestine from Israel. And you don't know how diplomatic code words can actually ring in the ears of the opponents. Israel got it. Israel has the strongest intelligence network in the world, and so they got your message loud and clear. Little wonder the moment the whole United Nations thing was over, the outcry against Christian persecution was born. And that was how I knew that Israel was eventually going to get involved. And if you listen to that video that I played to you, you see that I talked about it, that how can jihadists reign so supreme in Nigeria? Everybody knows how much oil Nigeria has, even though the citizens don't get to enjoy it, but we know how blessed Nigeria is with natural resources. Don't talk about the gas in Imo State, that is probably the largest deposit of gas in all of West Africa. Don't talk about the oil in Eastern Nigeria, old Eastern Nigeria, comprising Rivers State, Delta State, Abia State, Imo State, even Anambra State. Everywhere, natural resources. You go up north, you see all those gold and all manner of resources you can think of. So imagine Israel saying to themselves, oh my God, is this what we are faced with now? So these guys now have taken over Nigeria, and then they gain access to the oil well. Probably as we're talking, before you know it, the terrorists who have been conquering from up north, coming to the middle belt, they have taken over local governments in Benue State. I was there when the governor of Benue State then, Otom, was saying that about 18 or 19 out of 20-something local governments have been taken over by the Fulani militia, ethnic militia, and that they have renamed the villages they took over from Christians who are now living in IDP camps. Took over Christian villages, renamed them immediately. Recently, a soldier came out and said he was leaving the army, Nigerian army. He was so angry, the video was viral. He said his anger was that they saw their own commanders in the army helping invading Fulani terrorists settle down properly in the Christian villages that they took over forcefully from Christians in Benue State. Everybody saw the video. And some others will get angry and say that every time we see Boko Haram or terrorists to shoot, and they will tell us, they will be waiting for order to shoot, and they will tell us don't shoot. And we're asking ourselves, why are we then spending all this money, security, a vote, running into millions of dollars to buy weapons, but then we can't use the weapons to kill terrorists? Look at the stupidity, the rubbish that Nigeria was doing. Thinking that nobody was watching, thinking that nothing was ever going to happen. And so the Lord orchestrated for your vice president to go out there and stir the waters and bring about this. The braggadocio had to end. The pomposity had to end. Okay? They were so arrogant about it. They were rubbing it in our faces that you've been conquered and there's nothing you can do. Nigerians got tired. Nigerians were switching citizenship all over the place. Nigerians were running out. Everywhere you went, you were treated like trash as a Nigerian. Because what was happening in Nigeria, nobody could comprehend it. You are looking at the stories. A terrorist is there. You tell me not to shoot him. The terrorist is raping and killing people, taking over villages, and you're helping them to settle well. And then the people who own the villages are told to go and remain in IDP camp forever. No time for them to return to their villages. They've lost them forever. So what is probably going to happen is that they have to relocate those people to a different place. They have to lose their ancestral home. But the vice president of Nigeria is busy canvassing for a two-state solution tension between Israel and Palestine. They are busy criticizing Israel for saying that the Palestinians have to leave and go somewhere else. But the Christians in Nigeria who have lost their homes to Fulani ethnic militia are meant to be relocated to another place to lose their homelands forever. But in Palestine, they are not supposed to lose their homelands to Israel. You never thought the double standard was going to be exposed. And so now let me come down to the point I was trying to make. Every single thing that the vice president of Nigeria, every signal he sent to Israel is what he's getting back now. Let me start with the first signal. Watch out. Care's not taken. You're going to see Biafra arrive any minute, and you're going to see other nations arise any minute. When you just when you thought we have gotten it all, just when you thought we've been able to subdue over 200 million people and nobody can talk again, just then, boom, they switched on you. This is why it's not good to celebrate too early. That outing at the United Nations is what has led to all of this. That's why Israel said the killing of Christians in Nigeria has got to stop. And then after that, as if that was not enough, Benjamin Netanyahu just said it again, that listen, we are going to have to get involved, open another front in order to help to protect Christians in Nigeria.
All right, so the
first signal is that because in their minds, they believe Nigeria had become a Muslim nation, 100%, which is why the Muslim ticket happened. And that is what gave him the audacity, the boldness to go to the United Nations, to forget about his nation and focus more on the things happening in 3,700 kilometers away, Palestine, right? That was what gave him that. So he was basically indirectly, subtly, indirectly telling Israel, we have the capacity to help these people get free from you. And so Israel is now helping to bring that war to help Christians be free from you. And they will do it militarily. They will do it with intelligence. And when Israel tells you intelligence, remember the pager of what happened to the Hamas and Hezbollah guy.
Focus on the man in the checked shirt. In a moment, he's on the floor, wounded in the midriff. A pager in his bag or on his belt has exploded. CCTV from another shop shows a man check his pager before it too blows up at his side.
Electronic gadgets and all kinds of stuff, intelligence sharing. And that's why you had the bombing that took place in Sokoto, when many of us didn't even know there was any terrorist base in Sokoto. Intelligence was on ground. Mossad has been on ground for as long as you can remember over this matter. You are trying to indirectly say we have the capacity to come and help the Palestinians, and they got the message. They are now coming in, not even telling you. They are now coming in because they have the capacity to also help the Christians in your enclave. And guess what? The second signal you sent to them is two-state solution. So you better get ready. I'm not going to be very explicit about this one, but get ready, because the people who want three-state solution in Nigeria, where you're going to have almost 3 different nations pop out from Nigeria, get ready for that, because you're most likely going to end up with that. Everything you wished, everything you spoke about is now going to happen to Nigeria. Watch out. Care's not taken. You're going to see Biafra arrive any minute, and you're going to see other nations arise any minute. When you just when you thought we have gotten it all, just when you thought we've been able to subdue over 200 million people and nobody can talk again, just then, boom, they switched on you. This is why it's not good to celebrate too early. That outing at the United Nations is what has led to all of this. That's why Israel said the killing of Christians in Nigeria has got to stop. And then after that, as if that was not enough, Benjamin Netanyahu just said it again, that listen, we are going to have to get involved, open another front in order to help to protect Christians in Nigeria. I told you, Donald Trump, even some people in our base, some MAGA-based people are angry that in fact, they even feel Israel controls Trump. Trump is the strongest Israeli ally I've ever seen in the White House in all my life. I've never seen anyone who fought for Israel. I've never seen anyone who has supported Israel. I've never seen anyone who has defended Israel like Donald Trump. Anything that will affect Israel, he gets involved. That's why America is involved. And people were there talking about all kinds of nonsense, mineral, this, that. Do you know how much leverage America already has on ground in Nigeria that you're talking about mineral? Anything America wanted to get from Nigeria would have gotten it. This is about the risk that having a nation like Nigeria with the kind of oil wealth we have, having it being controlled by this terrorist element, means that anything that anybody in Palestine needs to be able to fight Israel until Jesus comes, that they will get it from Nigeria. Nigeria will now become the #1 sponsor of terrorism against other people that are non-Muslims in Africa. And Israel is going to be the #1 target, because which other place are Muslims actually being threatened like that? It's basically in that Palestine. So, and to now have the vice president of Nigeria send secret codes in his statement. I don't know who wrote that statement. These people don't know how diplomatic statements are written. How they wrote it was too obvious. It's not even diplomatic at all. You were sending secret information, secret codes. That means we have gotten this place now. All the oil wealth is in our hands. So we are going to show you very soon that you cannot continue to do this to Palestine and get away with it. So it's no longer only Turkey or any other place. This is within Africa. All the oil wealth, billions. We're going to use it to support. And already they are bringing terrorists from all over the world into Nigeria. New terrorist organizations are springing up every now and then. So imagine the fear that Israel must have suffered. That's what spooked Israel. And Israel was like, you know what? That thing that is going to give them the capacity and the power to come and attack us and destroy us, or maybe align with some other nations that are close to us in order to destroy us. That funding, we are going to cut away that funding source from them. So the best way to do it will probably be to balkanize Nigeria, break this one, break here, break there, and you have just one tiny little enclave where you people are practicing your Sharia. And that will be something that you got upon yourselves with your own mouth. And I know it won't stop you people from saying that it is Igbo people who did it. It won't stop you. But that is what you got upon yourself. That's why when I see people talking everywhere, this one will talk this one, this one will talk this one, this one will say this, I'll just be laughing at. I'll just be laughing. What do you know about your politics that you're claiming is this, is that? In my video, before Netanyahu got involved, I told you that the fear is that these guys have already surrounded Niger Delta. They've surrounded Eastern Nigeria, which is the oil belt of Nigeria. And in no time, they will take over. The places they took over in Borno and all those places, the mining sites there is being controlled by the terrorists. Imagine terrorists are controlling mining sites in Nigeria. It's not even a secret. So all the gold, what about the uranium in Sambisa forest? What about all these minerals? They are the ones controlling it. What then do they need money for that they will not get? So imagine when they now gain access to the oil, which is the big boss. There's nothing, they will fund any war against Israel in a heartbeat. That is no longer even speculation, because your vice president went there to go and give them signal that this is potentially what you should be expecting. Boldly talking about two-state solution. Why not minding your own business, your internal issues? Speak about it. Leave. Even if you are doing anything, you keep quiet. You are talking to Israel. Israel has now responded. So I hope that you guys will enjoy the ride, because it's only just about to begin. I see Gumi, who is the chief terrorist sympathizer in Nigeria, who negotiates for them. I woke up today and saw a video where they say that someone called him from Abuja, Asorok, and told him that he's one of the people that President Trump is targeting to take out. After they have taken Maduro within just a few hours or minutes, everybody now is worried. I hear that even the Gumi has gone to delete all his posts against America on X and Facebook because they took Maduro. They don't know the might of America, because America has been in the hands of some charlatans all these years. I told them, this man in the White House is not your mate. He's not a child. He doesn't play. The Trump of the first term is different from this Trump. This Trump is here for what? To correct a lot of generational anomalies. That's what he came for. Too many generational anomalies are being corrected right now. But the way he's doing it, a lot of people do not understand. That's why they are so confused. Some are even angry in his base, because they don't know. You need to get access to supernatural intelligence to understand the way this man is going. He's here to correct a lot of things. You may not like the optics, but believe me, you need to trust in the plan. He's here for good. It's for our own good. Do you remember how you people told me that I was sick in my head, that I was mad for supporting Donald Trump? Today, he's the reason many Christians today in Nigeria, in fact, all the Christians in Nigeria, he's the reason you guys are now smiling. You went through Christmas, New Year, no bombing, no killing, no coffins, caskets lined up everywhere. When was the last time we had Christmas in Nigeria that we didn't have dead bodies? That's how we used to celebrate Christmas in Nigeria in the past years. Recent time, that's all we've been seeing. Today, it didn't happen. On the same Christmas when they would have been killing us, Trump went to go and kill them. They said over 700 of them were massacred in one day, and they were on the run, running around the whole place. Do you know the amount of intelligence America already has on all these people? On their bases, on their secret bases, their sponsors. American CIA and Mossad most likely have been working together in Nigeria for months now, and you think you can run. You think it's your social media post that's going to make them believe differently. You think if you delete, after deleting, they won't know. They have information on every single soul. Everything you have done as far as terrorism is concerned, they know, they have it. Because now for Israel, this is a matter of survival. This is a matter of survival, a matter of life and death. It's no longer negotiable. Israel must step in, because they know they can never leave the wealth of Nigeria in the hands of people who are threatening them subtly over Palestine. This is how Nigeria got themselves into this mess, and it turned out to be for our own good. So for people who don't believe in God, for people who don't believe that God answers prayers, this one is for you. Tell me, how did this guy get to the point where he had to go to United Nations to talk about Palestine, to take a swipe at Israel? It is God. It was divinely orchestrated. Because it's a no-brainer. Like, who are you to go? Focus on your own matter. You left it and you're talking. So that's how God wanted to deliver the Christians, because there was so much hopelessness in Nigeria before this happened. And now that hopelessness has disappeared. People are so hopeful now. The hunter has suddenly become the hunted. In closing, I'm going to tell you guys something. This is politics, and I need my Igbo people to pay attention. So remember, I gave you predictions about how APC was taking over southern Nigeria. I did it about 2 months before it happened. And I told you that all the governors in eastern Nigeria were going to join APC, and they did. Virtually all of them now have joined. I told you what the plan was. But now listen to me. There is something it's an ongoing situation. It's unfolding. It has not fully unfolded, but it's unfolding now. If you look very closely, you must have seen that recently there's been a lot of attack on Igbo businesses in Lagos. You know, we took a break from that for some time. That is something that has been the norm, right? But we took a break from that. But all of a sudden, it looked like there was an uptick, right, in that same attack on Igbo businesses. And I'm going to tell you something that will shock you. I don't want to be explicit with this. I'm going to speak in parable, okay? And I'm going to try my best to see that my parable is not too complex and complicated for you to comprehend. So, Bola Tinubu has been cooperating with the United States of America in all the attacks and all the research and everything going on intervention. They said you should release Sunday Jackson, a Christian man who was attacked by a Fulani guy on his own farm, attacked and stabbed twice. He overpowered the man, took the knife and stabbed the guy, and the guy died, and they now sentenced him to death. This is the Nigeria we had before this time. And so one of the conditions they gave to Nigeria was that that guy must be released. Another condition was that they must disband the Sharia police called Hizbah, and that they must abolish Sharia. Those two have not been done, but Sunday has been released, right? So Bola has been cooperating with US to a large degree. Some bombings that they agreed on were being carried out. But here's the deal. Bola is in a fix, in a way. It's almost like he is trying to respond to America's demands, but also trying to please a base that will get so angry if he didn't do too much. And because of that, now it looks almost as if the political wind, this is where the parable comes in, the political wind that everybody saw was inevitably going in this direction. In fact, many people could swear that that political wind, nothing could make it leave that direction for 2027, right? And then all of a sudden, it looks like there is some type of distrust from above. And that distrust has now impressed some type of pressure on this wind, and the wind is now being compelled to move in a different direction, and this has now sent shockwaves in the camp of these other guys who were going in this other direction. I am not going to go beyond this. The wave for 2027 was supposed to be going one way, and because of a pressure that was being applied due to lack of trust or the loss of trust, the wind is almost being redirected another place. And because of that, the very common thing that you should expect is, as is always the case, is that Igbos are the reason this is happening. Igbos, you're the reason why the wind is shifting. You're the reason why the wind is blowing in a different direction. So you're going to suffer for it. And then they will come after Igbo businesses. So for the few who may have gotten a wind of what is happening, the information will go to their foot soldiers, and their foot soldiers will descend on Igbo businesses. And so I'm going to tell every Igbo person, be extra careful, because when the die is going to be finally cast, that when it will go beyond the place of hush hush and become mainstream news, you are going to see a lot of reprisals against your businesses. I put out a video by, I think it was January 1 or maybe December 31st. And in that video, I made it abundantly clear that the glory of Eastern Nigeria was roaring back to life in 2026 with full force. I made that abundantly clear, and I am still saying it to you today. And there's a reason why I said that. It is not speculation. It's not hallucination. It is not wishful thinking. It is reality. I'm not even prophesying. tonight, I'm telling you what is real, what is there. So if you have believed me all these years, better go and start carrying out your feasibility studies in Eastern Nigeria. Better go and start looking for land. Start thinking of how to get your businesses home. It may not be immediate because many of you have lived in Lagos and other places for a long time and built your businesses for so many years. So moving abruptly may not be the best. Take your time. Go do feasibility studies. Those of you who went home for Christmas and all that, take your time. Survey the place and begin gradually to make your moves. Begin to reduce the pressure, the economic pressure you are mounting and depositing outside of Eastern Nigeria, because the East is roaring back to life, economically, infrastructurally, and otherwise. The eastern part of Nigeria is being reborn, and no demon in hell can stop it. It is already on the go. So be careful. What lies ahead of us is going to be a little turbulent, because both the United States of America and Israel are locked in. They are not looking back. Their mission in Nigeria is cast on stone. It's no longer a matter of speculation. It's cast on stone. What I cannot do is tell you all of the mission, but their mission in Nigeria is done deal. And the way it unfolds will determine how much reprisals we receive on ground. And that's why not just the Igbos, but everybody has got to be careful, because Nigeria is about to go through a time of labor, a massive traumatic season of transition and transformation. It is going to be revolutionary, of historic proportions. But at the end of the day, it is going to be for the good of all. This is the kind of deliverance that people will transfer the information to the generations unborn. It is the kind of deliverance that comes at a point when all hope is lost. We will celebrate it. We will forever thank God for it, but don't think it's going to come very cheap. There will be some reprisals one way or another, but at the end of the day, it's going to be for our own good. So I just want to say that I have so much to say, but I'm going to just wrap it up here. And I want to let you know that I love you with all my heart, and I'm wishing you the best of 2026. If you notice on my YouTube channel, I haven't been making professional videos like this because I've been extremely busy. There's something else, very massive stuff that God has committed into my hands that I'm trying to nurture. And when the time comes, when it comes to the point of fruition, you all are going to be let in on it. But for now, whatever it is I have to say to you, it might just be with my phone, maybe on the go, and then I'll just keep you updated. And I want you to please bear with me when you see all those videos. It's just because of how busy I have become. But other than that, I want to let you know that I love you with all my heart, and I pray that in this year, everything you lay your heart or hands upon, they will prosper, and God will forever protect you and yours and provide for you abundantly in Jesus' name. Amen. God bless you. Have a good one.